Hello and welcome to another episode of Jobless Weebs. My name is Marco, the Big Mexican.
And I'm Brian. Hello.
Hey Brian, so nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Oh yeah.
For live situations, we are at a place where we normally don't record.
Mm-hmm.
But how are you, Brian?
I'm doing really well. I just bought myself some Calvin and Hobbes. I love that comic, and so I finally have the set. So, I'm so excited.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a childhood, I guess this time, just reading them. So funny. Yeah, other than that, everything's pretty much the same, pretty normal. I also am looking forward to the Fate Stay Night visual novel release, so I'm
you did mention that.
Open for that. Yep.
Nice,
so,
man.
I'm so excited, and apparently it is the the fleeting version from what I've looked at on online.
Is it the culture version?
Oh no, it's the non-culture version.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I'll still get it. I'm like, I might as well. I'm gonna get it for sure. But yes. Yeah. How have you been? I heard you went to the beach.
Yeah, I mean, I went on a vacation. I had not gone for years and years. So, I went kind of like, needed/forced vacation, which, that's good.
It happens, yeah.
We have a movie that it's kind of meh,
Yeah.
Honestly, when I found it, like, it even surprised myself a little because I was like, that's not the kind of movie that I would watch, especially because for like more than half of the movie, it's a really heavy movie. Just to watch. You're like, freak! It's like, it's going so slow. It's like nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And
it
then
is slow. I was surprised. Yeah, when I was watching it too.
But the movie, it's called Princess Arete, right?
Yeah. Yep. Princess Arete.
And oh man, it's an old movie from 2000.
Was it 2000?
I think so, right?
Yeah. And it's under 2 hours, like an hour 45.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 45 or something. But for like almost the first hour, it's really really slow build up, and the worst thing is that it doesn't change locations a lot, and
everything looks similar, and I just was thinking to myself when I was watching it, we're an hour in, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
or nothing has happened yet. So I mean, other than of course a few key moments, but yeah, I was really surprised. I was especially surprised at the expectations that we have, and they're not what I was thinking we'd get at the end. But
I mean, let's start from the beginning because this is such a weird movie. Honestly, like I was debating between watching this movie or another one that we will probably will talk about it.
Oh yes, for sure.
That's for another day. Because the movie starts really strange because it's about a princess that she is a prisoner. That's pretty much it. And the reason of why she was imprisoned on this tower, it's because this this king, her father, wanted her to keep
Mhm.
her pure, I guess, and she also had like a curse. I didn't quite get that part.
Yeah. Uh, so my understanding, or at least I also gleaned from when I was watching it, that she would be up there because she was supposed to be like noble and pure, so she's isolating herself to like stay that way. But then she uh is like putting on these expectations of like knights or suitors to basically complete challenges, and then they can like win her hand. And yes, the other weird thing is that hardly anybody sees her because she's isolated, a prisoner in that tower. So only her like maid servants see her and help her and feed her and stuff. But then uh, this tower, it's pretty high, of course, and it's kind of like big all around. And the crazy thing is that the suitors, they climb up the tower and talk with her. I was so weirded out by that.
Yeah, I mean, you have this princess
Mhm.
that didn't want her to be tainted by the world, but yet this princess was
Mhm.
leaving the tower whenever she wanted, or almost, like
Right.
she had the
Literally the
means,
secret tunnel.
but but she couldn't leave whenever she wanted because she
Yeah.
was still under surveillance. But she was
Yeah.
looking at the town and how people was able to get skills, how they were able to create a life, which
Mhm.
is the thing that she was envious of because she didn't have one.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
so come again, like this, the king said this, puts up a challenge. She said like, hey, if you want my daughter, she's gonna be really pure, but you need to pass this series of challenges. These challenges consisted in finding lost technology from
Mhm.
sorcerers, from like a race of sorcerers that were long extinct, or maybe not even extinct, but in a way gone.
Mhm. Right. And these items or magic items, they are basically like eccentric or like exotic items that that fuel the economy. Uh, but they're hard to come by. And so these suitors, they bring in, or like they come in and everybody welcomes them. And one of the maids is talking with the princess and they're like, oh, they're honoring you, or like here the crowds honoring the suitors who have done these things for you because you commanded it. Uh, and then these suitors, they come in and they give the items. And yeah, they look like magic, right? They have like a shiny orb. They have a little, it almost looks like a wind up metallic pet type thing. And then there's a book too. But yeah, it's literally just like technology. And they bring it to the king, and the king, or like the merchants, they put it in to this room. And then uh the princess, she does her thing where she leaves quietly and she goes and takes a look at the magic items, and she
Yeah,
finds the book at that time.
yeah, she finds the book,
Yeah.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but that
Yeah.
one of those little toys, that was the
Yeah.
witch, right?
Oh, maybe I missed that detail.
Because you know that while
Right.
she was looking the orb,
When
there was like this little toy that was kind of like yapping
oh
around.
oh oh yes, that's
I
right.
think that was the witch, right?
Inside.
Or the witch
Okay,
was
yes,
somewhere in
I
there
think
because
you're right.
you know she grabbed the book, she went back to
Uh,
her tower, still you know uh, wondering about the world outside,
uh,
outside the castle, because you know she
yeah.
had seen the world to an extent within the
Mhm,
castle walls. Because when you have the suitors, which were not the
mhm.
suitors, they were just like part of the king's guard. They were
Yep.
like, "Hey, princess, I've crossed mountains and rivers," and then it's like, "I have this flower
Right.
from Africa,"
Oh,
and
oh yeah. Oh my.
and then she
Right.
just would caught all of them under under lies because it was like,
Yeah.
no, you haven't. It was like, no, that's a flower from the castle garden. Like, what are you talking about?
Mhm. Yep.
And all of them were like, but I can make you happy. And she was like, no, you can't, because that's not
Can't.
what I
Uh-huh.
want.
Uh-huh.
And then like these kind of like old lady or old man. I mean, it's hard to say what it looked like, honestly.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But it just
Uh-huh.
starts questioning her like, is it how you want to live your life? Like, really?
Mhm.
Like you show me the way to your tower, and it looks pretty much. It tells her it looks boring. Like your life, it's boring. Like it
It's
doesn't have a
boring. Yeah.
purpose. It's like, what the heck
Yeah.
are you
What
doing
meaning
here?
to life is there? Uh-huh. And yeah, and the princess, you know, she she uh she loves like the outside world, and and yeah, this uh gets to her, and yeah, she's not happy with her current life. So she so the next time we see her, she's like dragged in, but what happens in between is that there's some old sorcerer dude. He comes bursting in, and everyone's like, oh, they're trying to uh like threaten him and stuff, but he just casually strides in, and he tells them, hey, like, uh I'm a sorcerer, I've got magic, let me marry the princess. uh and yeah, it's just crazy. Like the suitors are like getting ready, they think they're gonna be chosen by the princess to get married, but then some guards drag in the princess, and they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, we caught this thief stealing the book," and like at the gates. But then, oh, that's the princess, and they're like, "Oh, are you sure? Like, are you sure this is the princess?" And they're like,
Because
"Maid,
nobody
it's
knows
the
the freaking
secret. No one's
princess.
seen her." Oh man, it just blows my mind. Oh my gosh. Uh, wow. And like to think all the people was under the impression that she wanted to live like that. Oh man, that was terrible. Um, and then so yeah, the king's not happy, and everybody starts saying, "Oh, she has a curse because she keeps saying." I want to go. I want to leave. I don't want to live this kind of life. I want to experience. And yeah, as mentioned before, she gives the reason of, oh, even this kid knows something. He knows his father's trade, uh, and so do I want to leave and kind of like learn something. Oh, it was astounding,
Yeah,
but
because you know, like it was
nobody
her
likes that.
trying to give a meaning to her life, and
Yeah,
and and the people around her didn't want to let her. So this old
yeah,
sorcerer gets in and just says like, yeah, you know what, I can cure her from that curse, and
yeah.
he transforms her on
Uh-huh.
on a beautiful lady, which you
Yeah,
know everyone is like, whoa. So the princess was not
Right.
like a tomboy,
Right.
because
Oh,
she
she's
didn't
like this
even
gorgeous
look like a
princess. Yeah.
princess. So the guy
Uh-huh.
transformed her. He's like, yeah, this was the
Yep.
curse. Now she looks like a proper woman or proper
Uh-huh.
princess that she's
And I
ready to
deserve to
marry,
take her.
and I deserve to take her. And they were like,
Mhm.
oh, that makes sense to me.
Naturally.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, sure.
Oh, man. Oh, man, this is all kinds of,
And
oh my gosh. But
somehow they
literally,
agree.
right, right. And literally, as we talked about, yeah, this is like the biggest event that happens for like the first 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And of course they leave and they go, but yeah, this is like the most action we've seen. Quite fascinating how this movie is like literally just like two places, and then at the end, uh, well, anyway, but yeah, oh, so fascinating. Um, but like we as the audience, we know what the heck, this isn't right. Something's off about this because she's docile. She's very uh, down to earth. She looks way different. So we're like, what the heck is going on? Alarm bells are ringing. Uh, but, she's quiet the whole way. And then we get to the sorcerer's place and it's ruins. It's literally
And the sorcerer
broken
wasn't
down.
even the sorcerer. He
uh,
was like one
it
of the
was a,
henchmen. And
yep.
the sorcerer was like, "Hey, did you bring her?"
A
And
frog henchman. Oh, it's so
he's
funny.
like, "Oh yeah, yeah, boss, I got her." It's like, "Okay, yeah." Imprisoned her. Why?
Yeah,
Because there was a prophecy that a princess would bring ruin to him. This is,
exactly. And it would end his eternal life.
yeah,
Uh,
because apparently these sorcerers, like, were so ahead in technology,
yeah.
and I guess knowledge, that they were able to have really long lives. And
Uh,
but again, like, this technology was lost because they either went extinct, or
mm,
they just left. And
right. Yeah.
before being taken by, I guess, prisoner again, the witch, I guess that witch was also another sorcerer, gave her a
Uh,
ring,
yes.
where she was allowed to make three wishes to save
Mhm.
herself. And he told her, like, yeah, you know what, use these three wishes to save yourself, because it's all up to you. And I kind of like wanna emphasize that part, because
Mhm.
the witch was
Mhm.
like, use this to save yourself.
Save yourself.
And the moment
Yes.
that she was in prison again, uh, she was given food and stuff, but
Mhm.
there was really no difference to
Yeah,
the way her life was back on the tower.
exactly. Uh, and at this point, it is worse, in the sense that everything is really dingy around her. But yeah, it's no different. She was up on a tower, like isolated by everyone. Now she's inside of a like sunken prison room, and yeah, it's like it was a fascinating contrast. She uses one of her wishes to make the place pretty, but very she's still very like um, not herself. And that continues for quite a good chunk of the movie. Um, she's very like cluster, and the there's one other person that comes up and helps her, or at least like does the chores around the place. Uh, it's like a lady from the town down below, but she just the menial labor. And then this next part was so funny to me, where the frog henchman, he keeps saying, "Oh, uh, like, so bored. Like, what are you gonna do now? You have nothing to do." And then the sorcerer is like, "Shut up! Like, how dare you like insult me by saying that?" Something like that. But then we realize, oh, the henchman was talking about the princess. and, and and it just mirrors each other, because the sorcerer, he is waiting for something, basically remnants of his people, to come down and save him, to take him out of the terrible life he's living now. Uh, but now the princess is now waiting for someone to take her out of this terrible life.
Yeah, and I actually like that exchange because it
Yeah.
was, I guess it was kind of like criticizing, your classic story where you have the damsel
Yes.
in distress, and
Yeah.
and
The Rapunzel story. It's literally the
yeah,
Rapunzel story.
and her only role
Uh-huh.
is just to be pretty
Do
and
nothing.
yeah,
Right, and you
be
just sit
pretty,
there,
be
guys.
there,
Uh-huh.
wait
Mhm.
for Prince Charming to arrive and rescue you. And
Uh-huh.
as you said, the sorcerer, he was in the exact same position because he was
Yeah.
just alone in those ruins waiting for his
Mhm.
people to rescue him. And,
Yeah.
and it was, as you said, a mirror image of both of them, in a way that there comes a point in the movie where
Mm.
their 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 paths diverge, because
Yeah.
the second wish of the princess, where
Mhm.
she's still, with this idea of being saved by a Prince Charming, she decides
Mhm.
to start, I guess, how would you call it?
Sewing.
Yeah, sewing some pictures,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
and she spends her second wish on that,
Mhm.
and she just starts making more and more and more. And there's this one
Yeah.
other lady that I forgot her name, which, at this point it's not surprising that I forget names.
Oh.
But this lady
Uh-huh.
that you mentioned that makes the chores, she has a discussion with her. She was trying to save her, and she was like, "No, you know
Right.
what? It's like, no, it's all right. Like, someone else will come rescue me." And then the lady just was like,
Uh-huh.
"No, you have to do something for yourselves." It's
Uh-huh.
like, what are you gonna do if no one comes? Like, are you just gonna die here? And
Yeah.
and she starts kind of like having this wake up call where
Hmm.
she's under the spell of the sorcerer, of looking all proper and pretty, and she starts kind of like fighting it out.
Yeah, and it's a great couple of minutes there. Uh, the lady, she tells her, "Oh, like, if you're just gonna sit there, then uh, go through a fairy tale in your head, or like in your own voice, type of thing." And so she almost uses her third wish on pen and paper, but then she then she thinks to herself, "Oh no, I shouldn't do that, since I need to use my own voice." So she starts to go through her own story, which I thought was fantastic. Uh, she was like going through her own story, reminding herself who she is, where she came from, and she realizes, yeah, this is not where she wants to be. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
Because
because
then
like all
the spell
this,
breaks.
all this self criticism of like, oh yeah, there was a princess. She was at a tower. She wanted to be free, and she was doing this, and she encountered a witch, and the witch told her like, "What's your life meaning?" And she was like,
Yeah.
"Well, she didn't want that life, so she decided to leave, but she couldn't. And then she was like, wait, that's me. And you're like, okay. I think this is where the movie is actually, starting the climax. Because then she wakes up, she returns back to her normal self.
Self.
She's true
and
to
now
herself
she starts
now.
moving. Yeah.
Yeah, she starts looking for a way out. She starts making holes. She starts trying to climb the window. And by this point, also the sorcerer is reading through the book, and it's like, no, because this girl is the one from the prophecies. She's gonna be the ruin of me. And it's kind of funny because this kind of like reminded me of the movie like Kung Fu Panda, where
yes.
Master Uwe tells Shifu like, oh yeah, Tai Lung is gonna come and he's gonna take his revenge. And Master Shifu is like, oh no, go to the prison and tell them to increase security. And Master Uwe tells, like, I'm paraphrasing here, but he tells us like, well, you are fated to bring your own ruin in hopes to prevent it. And
exactly.
The sorcerer starts doing the same because he's like, no. I know. In order for her not to be the ruin of me, I need to keep her occupied.
Yes.
And so he starts making like, the knights that were supposed to fight for her hand in marriage had to follow this series of trials. I will give those trials to her, and when she brings those treasures back to me, then it'll work for me and not against me. He decides to free the princess, which, a really bad move, because if it would have been the princess under the spell, she probably would have done it. With
yes.
Like, she was like,
without
oh
question.
Yeah. But on this one, she was like, hey, princess, you can come out. And she still looked like this proper woman.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just all a lie. It was a disguise. And he even tells her, like, use your last wish to desire that a thunder may hit you if you so decide to come back. She said that.
And so the bolt would hit her if she goes back on her word. To the noble princess. Yes.
Yeah, and kind of like a thunder just shoot out of her ring. And I actually like this part a lot because I think I kind of have two theories. The first theory is that the witch gave her the ring to save herself, meaning that any wish that she had that she would make would work to eventually save her, not harm her. So even if she desired for a thunder to hit her, if she came back, it would have done that if she would have decided to come back being the helpless damsel in distress.
Okay. Right, because she's choosing not to free herself. Okay. So now that she... Okay, I think I get what you're getting at. Yes. That's pretty good. That is way good.
Because after that, she just like looked back, but it was not to look back to, be again like waiting for someone to save her. It was look back just to now rescue, for example, like the town of the other lady that told her that they didn't have any water. And that she was working really hard in looking for a water spring in that deserted land, and she was like, well, now it's my time to make my life. Like I decided I
Hmm.
decided that I'm not gonna wait for someone to help me. I'm gonna be
Right.
the one helping. So she decides, and
Right.
she goes back. She meets with the lady and talks with her, and then eventually also goes back to the ruins and steals the book, and she starts learning from the book.
Ah, it's incredible. I it's her taking her own life and living it the way that she wants. And I guess we do see that in like a lot of other stories where our society is like breaking the norm of that damsel in distress. This anime does that so well because she, as you said, is now the one helping other people trying to figure out what to do with her own life. And she figures out from the book that there's this stone that magically produces water constantly. And she thinks that would be the solution. So she finds it. It's in the little frog area
Oh
with all the
yeah,
frogs. That was a funny element to this film. And she like tries out a couple of things. She learns how to do it, and now she has a plan. This next part, she goes to the flying machine. She figures that out. It's impressive. It's basically wires or um, the gold filament like on the inside, and she connects it together and for the electrical wiring, and then she tries to put the stone in there. It doesn't quite work, I think, but it still works. Um, After a couple more things happen, because the sorcerer comes out and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And generally just pretty bad.
yeah. Because at the same time, the sorcerer wanted, he wasn't even capable to do the
Oh
most
yeah,
basic stuff for himself.
yeah. He
He
wasn't.
was threatening the
Mhm.
townspeople, saying like, "I can give you water because I
Yeah.
can create water." Which at the
Ah,
end he didn't even create it. It was just
he was.
a tool that I'm pretty sure he didn't even know how to use it. He just kind of like knew how it worked, but it was also his leverage against these people, just
Right.
to give them just enough, just so that they would um, feed him
Keep
and do
their end of
this
the
and that.
bargain.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
and that was the other thing, because there was also this other scene where he's trying to tinker with the flying machine, and
Ah,
the flying machine doesn't work, and he's like, well, I didn't want to do it either ways.
oh, yes.
And he just took
Mhm,
like
mhm.
the princess Arete, uh, just like noticing that, yeah, one of the films was not making a connection. She's like, what happens if I put this and it worked?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
her plan was to restore like the water supply in the area.
Mm,
And
that's
when the sorcerer figures out that the stone was stolen, he goes to complain with the townspeople, telling them like, if you don't give me what I want, I will stop giving you the water you need. And they were like,
it
the
already
water
stopped.
stopped like a long time ago. And
Yeah.
he's like,
Oh, it's
oh
so freaking funny.
no.
Yeah.
And while he's on his way and finds Arete, and he freaks out because he's like, why didn't the
Mm,
thunder hit you? And it's like, well, it didn't hit her because she decided to rescue herself and not wait for someone,
mm.
unlike him, that he was still waiting to be rescued. And we
That's
also
right.
figure out that
Still stuck.
that he's not even a proper sorcerer.
And it comes out that he basically only knows how to do one thing, which is transformation. But even at that, it's like the most useless transformation that he could do possibly.
Yeah, because
So freaking funny.
He's a kid.
Yeah,
like originally.
Yes. He was a kid when he was like learning magic, so that's all he learned, basically. And yeah, so it's basically revealed he's powerless, right? He has no power to change his life or even hold power over others. It was all just made up, all a lie to make other people do what he wanted. And it was kind of funny too, because he even reverts himself back into being a little kid, or at least the appearance of one. That kind of cracked me up.
Which made a lot of
Yeah.
sense, because in the way that he was
Yeah.
originally as an old man,
Mhm.
we're coming again to, I guess, stereotypes of like when you see an old man, most of the time you
Mm.
see someone that is fulfilled and that
Okay.
has his life together, or has lived
Well
his life
accomplished.
enough that he's accomplished. And at this point,
Mhm.
it's a lot of old men are just like chilling because they already know how life is gonna go. But then you have the big reveal, and it's a child, and it turns out that is this immature person who doesn't
Mhm.
know anything about life, who sadly he needs to rely on others because of his
Mhm.
inexperience. Uh, and he makes that mistake of transforming himself with that orb, and then suddenly, like, the castle ruin wall just break, and a
Yes.
lot of water come splashing down, and it was
Yeah.
even taking like people. It took the orb with them,
Yeah.
and it kind of
And
like
so he
fixed the
lost the
place.
orb.
Yeah, and it fixed the place because they had water
It did.
again, so they were able to grow their crops again. They were able to be alive because turns out that water is pretty important.
Oh yes. Yeah. And yep, the crops come back. The people of the village, they can now farm and stuff. Oh, and one thing about the castle is that he transformed it into an image of himself as an old man. I thought it was so funny, because it was literally himself crashing down and getting wrecked and destroyed. Uh, and yeah, so after that, things are looking great. The, he's now reverted back to the old man, and he's still trying to look for the orb, but Arete, she continues with her life. She like has a goat now. She um, knows where she wants to go. She has a plan. But the old guy, he's literally just he is nothing. He's lost. He's like alone. But I think it was a good
And he's
change
still
then
waiting
that they had.
again.
Yeah,
He's
he's
still
still
waiting to be
waiting.
rescued, because
Uh,
when Arietta says, like,
yep.
I'm going on a journey to look for these things, meaning
Yeah.
the things that the old sorcerer told her to go on her journey at the beginning, or like at when he freed
Right.
her, he was like, wait, is she still trying to fulfill the quest that I gave her? And it's like, no, you idiot. It's like, she's not doing it because of you. She's doing it because
Yeah.
now she wants to explore
Now she
more
wants
of the
to.
world, which it was the purpose of the movie, of what she wanted to do. She wanted to go outside and see the world for herself, and
Yeah.
and grow up as a person, now that she had already grew up a lot. Overall, I wouldn't give it a high rating, but just for that last part, it was a great movie because at the end it just has a great message of like
It really does.
like a lot of times, most of the time, you shouldn't wait for someone to rescue you or for some external stuff to fix your life.
Yeah,
It's like
right. Yeah, like externally, it almost doesn't even matter what happens, like outside of you. It's what you desire and choose to do that makes all the difference. And I thought also another thing that I really liked that kind of is the same like that. It's that people can create these things from their own hands, and then we see at the last scene the old sorcerer looking at his own hands, kind of like this, and then we just zoom out from above. Oh, it's an incredible shot. The angle is incredible. But yeah, it's just that you know maybe he's now realizing, yeah, I gotta do something with my own hands too, instead of just conveniently changing things. Maybe I have to actually like uh, think to myself what I want to do. But yeah, it's just incredible, that part. Yeah, really good message. Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. But yeah, it was. I guess just because of that, it is a good movie.
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
you know,
But boy, it was slow. That's for sure.
if you go to like the initial hurdle, like if you could go past that portion, it's like okay, yeah, it is great. But I guess it was, it was necessary to build up just to show her situation.
Yeah.
How, at the beginning it wasn't bad because she was a princess, even if she was imprisoned, and she had everything. But it showed that even though she had almost everything, I guess, any material stuff she could ever wanted, she was still not happy. And then when she was not a princess anymore, but had her gold and stuff that she actually worked for, she felt fulfilled. So yeah, that was a good message. It's like, yeah, you know what?
It was, yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have a lot of money, but it's because of your parents or it's because these are other stuff that you didn't work for. It's like it feels really different than something that you actually work hard to get. That was it for this week, Brian.
Yep, it was a great one. Thanks for doing that one.
Yeah. It was one of those that I found while I was doing my Russian roulette one. I was like, this one looks interesting.
Yep, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, I hope everybody also enjoys the anime. If they do, check it out. I do recommend it. It's pretty alright. And then, of course, we'll still plan on our next few episodes.
Yep, and we're definitely will be working a little more on the light novel audiobook.
Yes, our little project for that. Yep.
Yeah, so
pretty fun.
So yeah. For now, I guess that audiobook will take a few Saturdays every now and then until we can actually establish it as an actual series for the channel. We just have to find the time because we're very limited on the time when we record like the podcast or even the Beat Saber videos. But it is a story that I do want to follow through because I'm way ahead on the light novel already, and man, there are some parts that I really want to share it on the series because it'd be great to see it in anime, but you know how it goes with animes and light novels. Like, some of them get a second season or third season, some of them sadly don't. So, but anyways, thanks for watching this week.
Thanks for joining us.
We will definitely be working on improving this format, even if it's temporal. And yeah, thanks for watching. Keep watching anime. We'll see you next week. Matane.
Matinee.